beautiful book. In the battle trenches of the First World War, a young British officer by the name of John Ronald Reuel Tolkien scribbled the early writings of what would later be the famous world of Middle-earth. Middle-earth, a fictional realm of elves, magic, and, well, hobbits, was not merely born of some passing daydream. Its roots run much deeper. The works of J.R.R. Tolkien are grounded in mythology, influenced by his fascinating life, and are masterpieces of fantasy and linguistics. Today I will tell you about the Anglo-Saxon lore in which Tolkien found inspiration, the life of the great writer, and the influence of language in his works. Come, I'll tell you a little bit more inside. This hobbit's like a good flame. Looks about right. You know, much of English or Anglo-Saxon mythology has been lost to the sands of time, and it was one of Tolkien's primary goals to recreate it according to what he thought it could have been. He felt that the culture of England lacked this important base, and he essentially wanted to fill it. Many of the themes, elements, and words in his novels come straight from this mythology, such as the term orc, which is seen in the classic Anglo-Saxon epic poem Beowulf. Tolkien studied Beowulf intensely, writing the famous critical essay, Beowulf, the Monsters and the Critics. This essay is so important that, according to Felicia Steele's 2006 Mythlore article, Dreaming of Dragons, Tolkien's impact on Heine's Beowulf, it restored the epic work's popularity. Having read Beowulf this year for my school's lessons, I can say that I am personally grateful to Tolkien, for perhaps without his essay, the beautiful tale would never have been taught. What a pity it is to ponder. Now, Tolkien's life was both fascinating and tragic, and it had an enormous impact on his works. Though he denied any direct allegory, he drew much inspiration from what went on around him. As I was saying earlier, Tolkien fought in the thick of World War I. He saw many scenes of devastation that can be paralleled with the post-battle scenes in his writings. As stated in Janet Croft's 2002 Mythlore article, The Great War in Tolkien's Memory, an examination of World War I themes in The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, Tolkien attested the scenes of the dead marshes in The Lord of the Rings somewhat to the aftermath of the Battle of the Somme. Many of Tolkien's best friends were killed in the Great War, and on top of that, both his parents died when he was very young. In his works are themes that would seem to naturally follow, themes of longing for the past. Later on in his life, Tolkien joined a Christian writing club at Oxford University called the Inklings, and became great friends with the fellow members, C.S. Lewis. The members of the group would edit Tolkien's drafts and give feedback. There can also be seen some Christian elements in his works. Gotta keep the old fire ablaze. Tolkien's works are riddled with linguistic brilliance. Having spent some of his childhood in the rich culture of South Africa, he heard many languages growing up. As a result of such exposure, he became fascinated with the various forms of spoken word and came up with his own dialects of speech. He later incorporated these new languages into his works of fantasy to give his Middle-earth an increased historical perception. Most notably, he created the Elvish language to give credibility to one of his most favored fictional species, the elves, as the name might suggest. In fact, I think I might happen to have a sample here, just so that you might get a taste of it. Hold on a minute, I know that I have it around here somewhere. Dwarvish speech. Oh wait, yes, here it is. Elvish poetry. This is one of my favorites. An excerpt from Namadie. We all know this one, I believe. Si vanwa na Romelo vanwa valimar, Namadie, nai hiru velye valimar, Naelie iruva namarie. That's some good Elvish poetry, if you ask me. Now, of course, the English translation, as we all know, is now lost. Lost to those of the east is Valimar. Farewell. Maybe thou shalt find Valimar. Maybe even thou shalt find it. Farewell. Just a bit of Elvish poetry for you there. J.R.R. Tolkien's fantasy holds merit in many respects. His famous works are, as you can see, based in ancient culture, impacted by the life events of their author, and they even bring forth a wellspring of linguistic ingenuity. From the battles of the First World War to the halls of Oxford University, Tolkien found inspiration for his masterpieces. As C.S. Lewis once said in regards to The Lord of the Rings, though I feel it can be applied to all of dear Tolkien's pieces, here are beauties which pierce like swords, or burn like cold iron.